going on? RGIJ is back, baby. Public service announcement. It is fucking freezing in Florida. Do not come to Florida to visit. It is cold. I thought...
What is it, like 57?
It's lower than that. Last night on Saturday was probably the most cold that Florida has ever had, bro. It was like 30s. 30s. You got to think about it. December, January, that's 90s, 100s. I used to do Christmas at Cocoa Beach. It was that type of weather. Now all of a sudden, the fucking cold fronts had hit the home front and it is freezing. This is probably the first time that I have seen people walking in Universal Studios in fucking coats, a winter hat, and they're still marching along. You know, it's for the kids. But it's fucking cold, man. This is nothing compared to Chicago, though. Chicago was fucking freezing. I mean, I never want to go back there. I told my friends, I said, I will come back to visit, but it has to be June, July, August. When it's like 90 degrees, 100 degrees, I don't care if it's humid or whatnot, but I would be damned if I'm going to do the cold out there again. I mean, cold, Mike. Like,
what?
Yo, we will go sightseeing to these statues and everything else, and we're running. Stop. We're like, yo, hurry up, take a picture. As soon as the flash goes, we're out of there. Into the car, let's go to the next spot. This was probably the quickest tour my homeboy showed us. Like, it took us maybe a good 45 minutes to hit, like, you know, the baseball stadium, the football stadium, and everything else, because the cold and the wind was so bad that we were just like, get in there, pose, take a pic, leave. The worst part was we go to find the rental car. I don't know if you've ever been to O'Hare. You ever landed there? Dude,
No.
The worst airport. The signs, you can't even understand where to go. We're trying to find the rental car place. The worst, right? We hit the garage, the parking lot, and already the cold hits your face. Thank God. This is probably the only time that I'm grateful for COVID, because that mask was keeping me warm. And they're really strict. You needed your COVID card out there, or else you would have been denied service in restaurants, bars, everything else. And they actually wanted you to show them, and they look at it to see if you were actually vaccinated. So we come out in the cold, and I go to zipper up my fucking coat, and my zipper breaks. So, dude, I'm like holding my jacket together because it's just freezing. I had a scarf around me and everything else, but dude, I couldn't believe my fucking zipper broke, man. It was the worst. And I felt so bad because, you know, we went there for my nephew's graduation, basic training from the Navy, and it was on a Friday. We went into the Navy Exchange. So the Navy Exchange, you know, it's like the BX, the basic exchange. They sell clothes or whatever. So we walk in there, and this lady comes up to me and my buddy. I met him when I was in the Air Force, so he's an ex-veteran. And she started crying. And we're looking at her like, you know, what's the matter? And she was telling us that she is visiting to see her daughter graduate boot camp. But because she was not vaccinated and she didn't have a COVID card, the Navy did not allow her into the graduation. So she had to basically watch her daughter's graduation through the YouTube link that they provided so you could see it live. But here's my thing. You know, I felt bad, you know, because, again, you know, we've always talked about COVID, the vaccine, and everything else. You know, if she didn't get it, she didn't get it. That's her choice or whatnot. But the pamphlet they send the parents is way ahead of schedule. Like, we got the paperwork, like, back in December. So you knew, and it's specific in the paperwork. Like, it's right there in your face. Like, hey, we're checking COVID cards. So if you don't have a COVID card, you're not coming in. Plain and simple. The Navy's not going to allow you to enter the ceremony. You're not going to be part of it. You're done, basically. So we already knew, you know, me and my brother were back there. We got a COVID. So we already knew, make sure we pack that in the bag. We're taking it with us. Even my boy told me, he's like, yo, bring the COVID card because you're going to be denied services anywhere you go. So we make sure we had it. I felt bad, but at the same time, I was like, you know, you knew ahead of time what it was, you know, and I get it. Maybe they should have made an exemption for you to be like, hey, an exception for you to be like, hey, you know, it's your daughter's graduation, come on in. But they did it to all the other parents that were there. You know, they looked at every parent's COVID card because that's how they were able to allow them to sit next to each other. They showed the proof of vaccination there. So I felt bad for her. So we're in the hotel. COVID again, like we talked about the last time, society is fucking losing their mind. So we're in the Marriott and we come out of the hotel room. So, you know, they have the cleaning ladies. So in 2020, or I think a little after 2020, when they started opening the hotel slowly and everything else, the protocol became we're not cleaning your room until you leave. Like the norm was, the maid services would come in, clean your room when you're not there. As long as you didn't have your little sign hanging on the door, they will come clean it. So we come out of the room and we look at the lady and we say, "Excuse me." We were like, "What's your protocol here in the hotel? Do you guys clean the room every day because of COVID?" She was a Hispanic lady who didn't speak English. So the only word she knew was COVID. Dude, tell me why this lady started doing the moonwalk. Yo, she started walking backwards, looking at us like, and she said in Spanish, "Who has COVID?" Like, she was all freaked out. And me and my brother looked at each other, like, we started laughing a little bit, and then we started telling her in Spanish, like, "No, we don't have COVID. We're asking you, do you still clean the rooms, even though COVID is still happening and everything else?" But dude, since that day, every time we saw her, like, if we needed extra towels, we would walk up to her and she'll go, "What do you need?" like she was just freaked out. I don't know if we scared her, like thinking that one of us had COVID. I was gonna start coughing just to fuck with her, but then I was like, nah, this lady probably fucking quit her job and she won't ever fucking come back ever again. But dude, it was just hilarious that she was already freaked out like that. Again, COVID, did you see a new variant coming out now? They found one, I don't know what it's called. It's called the Neo Cove or whatever fucking bullshit it is. Another variant. It's not going anywhere, like we said. I just read an article too. These two nurses in New York just got fucking arrested for fucking faking COVID vaccine cards. They racked in $1.5 million. They were charging $220 for the card, and I think an extra $90 to $100 for your kids to have a card. And these two fucking nurses were basically doing, like, they were doing fake IDs and making mad money off of it, bro. I was like, yo, this is nuts. This is insane. And these variants ain't going nowhere. They're just going to keep multiplying. They're going to keep getting crazier and crazier all the fucking time. Like, but it was just funny that she was all just crazy, fucking like scared out of her mind or whatnot. But yeah, man, it's crazy. But don't come to Florida. So if you're in New York, stay in New York. You're in Texas, stay in Texas. If you're in Cali, stay in Cali. You're not coming. It's freezing out here. It's freezing. And now I'm getting yelled at because people are like, yo, you brought the cold from Chicago to fucking Florida. So my nephew came over today to, make some money. Like I told you about, we try to show him the value of $1. So he did some cleaning. He got paid for his services. He helped out with cleaning my brother's car and everything. And he's out there in the cold. Yeah, you want to make money though, right? Dude, I walked out to the garage to like say, how you doing, nephew, and everything. And I was like, goodbye, nephew. I'll see you later. I'm going inside because it was fucking freezing out there.
Man, that's what like, I was hearing a story like, somebody who like, they lay bricks, right? So it don't matter what it is. You're laying bricks. Like if it ain't snowing, you can still work. They're working. Yeah. And they're saying they're having a hard time finding people. Hey, like it's hard to find people, right? In general, I think now, who wants to do it, but also too, like that's a different breed of people. Like if you're having to work outside, right? And if it's cold, good luck. But also during the summer, good luck too, because it's gonna be hot. I think that's a lot of times people, man, they don't understand. There's people out there right now that's part of their job. Construction workers, like whatever's probably, somebody who has to go pick up the trash, has to wake up in the morning. Like I think there's a lot of people. I think it affects more people than we think of that are actually out in the cold, working there every day, like here, this and that. And you got some people that are just like, I can't, like, I don't know, like it is what it is, but it's one of the ones too, where it's like that, every job has its benefits and has one of its things. And sometimes some of those things is like you're working out regardless of what the weather is. And I mean, it's like, I've never had to work those jobs. I've never have. I've always been, I've always had desk jobs. So I've never had to, but I can't imagine, someone's like, hey, we're working out this. You're like, man, it's 40 degrees right now. Like,
and can you imagine what state they're in? Like if you're in fucking North Dakota, where, even in the military, nobody wanted to get stationed in Minot. That shit was fucking freezing over there. You know what I'm saying? And depending on what state you're working in too, if you're an outdoors person, that's going to be fucking hard on you. Like even here in Florida, yes, I know I joke around that it's fucking cold, but this is nothing compared if you were working, again, in the Dakotas, fucking somewhere where the fucking winter, New York, where the winter's just fucking killing you every single day for you to be out there doing what you need to do. Like my brother does communications. He's out there, has 2 jackets on, whatever the case may be. But imagine those that do that type of work in the fucking in New York where the snow is constantly falling. You got fucking 5 feet of snow all the time, and you got to be out there busting your ass to do that stuff because you got to make, pay the bills and everything else. Dude, I don't envy that. And I'm like you. I never worked anything like that. Command post has always been indoors, even though we were 24/7. Even though we had snow days, we still had to go to work and show up and drive through that shit. But I'm not a winter person, man, honestly. I hate the winter. I've always hated the winter. Even like young, when we used to go outside and play 2-hand touch football, rough tackle football, whatever, I give you the most 30 to an hour. I'll see you. And once I'm done, once my hour is up, I'm right back upstairs, chilling in the warm, and you would never see me the rest of the day. Because I was like, there's no point. It's stupid to be outside with 3 pairs of jogging pants, 4 pairs of sweaters, 3 socks, just for us to be hanging out and playing rough tackle football. It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it at all.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm a little bitch, man, with the cold. My first station was South Dakota, man. So it's like, I'm good, man. Like I've been out there in the cold. That's why, like, I lived I lived on an island for so long. So like, you got 70 degrees. It was cold. Yeah. And, now we're here and I was like, oh, I'm back in Texas. Like, it gets hot. And then I think they were like, I think we're supposed to get snow maybe this week. I'm like, this is total bullshit. Like, if I would have known this shit, I would have been like, no, I'm not staying. I hate the cold. I get like a little girl, man. I'll be in my gym. Like, I have the heater on there and I just have it on. And then sometimes I'm just sitting there because I'm just so cold. I'd rather be hot. But if I get hot, man, I get irritable. Like, I want to fight people. I just want to like punch people and shit. But cold, man, I just cold. I want to quit whatever it is. I'm like, I don't want this.
This is probably the first time that people in Florida in their home are switching from the cool to the fucking heat because they're just like, they're not used to this. And I mean, they're wearing coats. Like, shit that you would see New Yorkers wearing. You know what I'm saying? Like those big fucking coats. These people down here are putting them shits on with the snow hats and everything. And I'm like, I get it. Like you said, in Japan and even in Vegas, if it drops down to like 75, 70, that's chilly. We're wearing long sleeve shirts or whatever. But they overdo it here, man. Like I said, Universal, they were walking like it was a winter wonderland in that bitch. They're walking around with big ass coats and hats. And I'm like, come on, people. It's not that serious. Like, I swear to God, Chicago cold. If you ever been there, don't go December, January. Don't do it. Go to the summertime. Chicago cold's no joke, man. Especially with the wind hitting your face. That shit cuts you. Oof. I never want to do it again. My friends are like, you coming back? I said, yeah, June, July, August. Those are the only months I'll be back. Besides that. And you know what pissed me off is that we told my nephew, go to basic training in the summertime. Go in June, July, bro. Like, fuck staying home after you graduate. Like, go in the summertime. So when you graduate, we have the summertime to be able to walk around and enjoy Chicago. But this fucking clown wants to go in fucking November, December, and we had to fucking deal with the coldness out there. It was terrible, man. Terrible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of people right now that were distressed because they couldn't wear flip-flops for like a day or two. Or, like, everyone's trying to figure out, like, what do you wear besides flip-flops? Like, what do you do? I don't know what to do.
Losing their minds. They're losing their minds. No beach. You can't fucking do any water parks or nothing. They're going crazy out here. It's the end of the world. The end of the world is happening. Somebody's still in a swamp right now being like, man, I ain't scared of no cold. I'll be out here with alligators. Those are the ones that are visiting. Those are the ones that moved from like New York down here. Like when I first moved down here from Jersey, I went to my nephew when he used to play baseball. I went to one of his baseball games, and it was in February. Dude, the weather dropped, the temperature dropped, so it was for them it was cold. And I'm there with a t-shirt and shorts, man, flip-flops. Because I was used to Jersey. Jersey was cold, around that time. So that for me was nothing. But there have scarves, sweaters. And now that I've been here for almost 4 years, I'm the motherfucker with a scarf, sweater, hat. Like, yo, this is cold for me, man. Because your body gets acclimated to the hot, You're used to 90, 100 degree temperature and so on and so forth. And then when that shit drops, you're like, holy shit, it's fucking freezing. Bring out the winter clothes and everything else.
Especially weird working out in the mornings, man, because I'll wake up and I go start the heater in my gym, right? Because I have it insulated and stuff like that. It's like 45, man. I go in there and be like, today's gonna fucking suck, man, because and I'll just be bullshitting, trying to let it get like hot. And I mean, I'll wait as long as I can. It's like 66. And you're just like, man, this is not fun, man. Like, cause it's like everything's cold. I have to wear gloves because like everything's cold in there. And it's like you're not really trying to work out that hard because it sucks, man. It's cold,
the weights,
man.
right?
Like,
your weights, you have like the metal handles.
The weights are
and
cold. You know what I mean? The treadmill I have is metal too, so it's more like a heavier, heavy duty one. Like everything I have is metal. So it's cold, man. Plus, like it's the garage, so like there's nothing like there's only a heater, a small heater in there. There's not like direct, like you know.
But is it running the best in the cold though? Don't you get a better like sensation of
fuck no, man? I feel like a little bitch. Nah, actually, like you know, people do say like you know it's better to run in the cold, but for me it works. It's the complete opposite because I have problems with my knees. They hurt more. I have to warm up more because like my body, like I got shoulder issues, so that hurts. You know what I mean? My knees, both of them are killing me. My hip has to get warmed up, like because I just I have these issues, and it's one of the ones like for me in the cold is like I get injured more because like it hurts more. Like it's fucking painful, man. It's like shit. You know what I mean? Like it's 60 degrees and it's like I'm still cold, or you're trying to move around and stuff, but it's like. It's cold, so the knees hurt more. The bones are kind of like just trying to warm up, and it sucks. But like I said, I prefer working out in the mornings, and so it's like just kind of.
I don't know how you do
part
that.
Of the pain.
You do it what 5 a.m.
So I wake up at 4:59. So I'm like I wake up at like 1 minute before 5. Yeah, man, it's cold. I mean, but the reason I really love doing those things is like nobody messes with me. Like I don't have to worry about someone coming in and doing those things. Yeah. If I work out on a Saturday and it's 10 o'clock, my daughter might, hey, what are you doing? Or, whatever. Or, hey, we got to go here. And it does that. But at least I can sit there and say, like, until I'm done, I'm uninterrupted. Like, they're awake and they're getting ready for school and, stuff like that. But to me, that's what I like about the most, man. It's like I get to spend the first part of my day working on me. And, even though I hate working on the cold, it is something like that makes my mind tougher because it does suck. Like, there's nothing like working out in 30-degree weather and 45 or whatever. Like, I mean, I had it the other day blaring and it was like, nope, we're not getting no warmer than 68. Yeah. You know what I mean? And, it's just, it's what it is. It's cold. So I like that mental aspect of it. But yeah, there are times I've just sat there and just kind of just stared at the wall. Like, cause I'm just like, I don't want to move, man. It's cold,
So you wouldn't travel to like Alaska, none of these fucking cold countries? You wouldn't do any of those travel like visits because it's cold, or you just
fuck no, man. I was like I got stationed in South Dakota, right? And so like again, I'm from Texas, and I get stationed in South Dakota, and I get there. I think I got there in October, and it was chilly, right? And I was like, whoa. And then when I experienced what January and February was like in South Dakota, no, hell no, man. Like I've driven in snow numerous, like to the point where it's normal. Fuck, I hate the cold, man. Like that's why I lived on an island for so long because I'm good. Right. I hate the snow, and it snows here, so I'm just like kind of like every time it snows, I'm just thinking about it, like what would it take to leave, man? Like where could I go that's perfect? Because I can't stand the cold, right? I hate that it snows here, but it's gonna get to like 107, 110 during the summer. It's like fucking stupid.
Yeah. Because that's ridiculous. One thing I hated about Honduras was the fucking heat. Because as hot as it was you would shower, come out, and you already started fucking sweating again. It was like, what was the point of the shower? Vegas was the same way. Vegas, when I first got to Vegas, I was constantly going out all the time. On the weekends, any day off, I was fucking hitting the clubs, hitting the bars, doing whatever. But when that fucking temperature goes up, man, you don't want to do shit. You just want to stay home in your fucking AC and just be a homebody and not do anything at all. Unless it was like really, you and your boys were getting together to go to a club or something. But besides that, I didn't even want to make an effort to leave the house because it was so fucking hot. And then it's funny how we are programmed that way, When it's cold, we bitch because we want heat. When it's fucking hot, we bitch because we want it cool. But Florida and Texas, these are like states that your winter clothes are in the attic. Like you don't wear winter clothes, So when it gets cold like this, some of us, at least those like from New York or so, we like it because we get to pull out our winter gear. Shit that we know we're never going to fucking wear again. But finally, we have a day that we could at least pull it out and wear it one time. So wear your coat, wear your Timberlands, wear whatever the fuck you want to wear. Because if not, that shit, when I first got here, I never had to pull out any winter clothes at all. Because every December, January was always fucking hot. Always.
Do you wear Timberlands?
I have a pair, but for the most part, I never really wore. I wasn't really big into Timberlands like that. When I was younger, yeah, before I left Brooklyn, I would wear Timberlands. But now I just wear regular sneakers or shoes or whatever the case would be. I'm not really.
From New York, do y'all even wear flip flops? Like I don't see that being a part of like, you know, son. You know what I mean? Son, like no one ever talks about, hey, I'm wearing flip flops right now.
The only time we wore flip flops if we were going to the beach or the pool in the park. That was it. Even like when we used to open up the fire hydrant, we would fucking run around in barefoot. Like we wouldn't even wear slippers to come down. We literally would go upstairs, change, and run downstairs through the hallway staircase in our bare feet, outside, running the concrete in our bare feet, running the streets because, you know, we would put the sprinkler on and it will shoot like little fountain and we will be under the water playing on the street barefooted. And then we start playing tag barefooted, running up and down the street and the sidewalk, no flip-flop. Like flip-flop wasn't a thing unless, like I said, if you went to the beach. And even some will go to the beach in their kicks. They'll go in their sneakers and then they'll just take them off when they get there. But flip-flops in New York, you will rarely see any of that. Now, Florida, that's like almost an everyday thing.
It's funny, like you start seeing like the different kind of people and you're like, man, everywhere in America, we are really different. Like, fuck, like to me, like a lot of East Coast people, I remember when I first got into the military and I met a guy from New York, you know, New York City and shit. And I was like, oh God, man, y'all like one, he couldn't stop talking about being from New York. And it was like, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. And just the way, and I remember we got into like an argument about you all and y'all. Cause I was like, you know, y'all. And he's like, no, it's you all. I was like, okay, cool. But we say y'all. And he's like, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, all right, cool. I don't care, man. Like we say y'all here in Texas. Like that's how we talk. And he just had to be right. And it's like, it's just that one of like, kind of like, it's just that New York bravado, like, no, I'm right, you're wrong, and this is how we do it. And it's just like, yeah, this is why nobody likes y'all. Like, this is why a lot of people don't like the East Coast people. Like, that's why everyone makes fun of like Boston people. Like, there's nothing great qualities about these people. You're like, you know what, dude, we should really like try to take what they're doing in life and like put it across the U.S.
Awesome
Nobody's like
people.
that at all.
New Yorkers are incredible beings. Now that we are considered rude people. Rude,
fucking
people,
rude.
Man. We really are. I'm not gonna lie, we really are. But even you have that. I think you have that everywhere. If there's some Floridians that are rude, I mean, the hospitality in Chicago was good. The customer service was great. Like every bar or restaurant we went to was on point. Hello, good evening, how you doing? You know, even though we'd be like, oh, we're from New York, they'd be like, oh, you know, and just start a conversation, everything else. But I finally put to rest the fucking debate that New York pizza is way better than Chicago pizza. You're hearing it here first on the RGIJ. New York pizza is 10 times better than Chicago pizza. The deep dish in Chicago was terrible. Terrible. There was one spot I went to, it was called Palermo's, an Italian joint. The owner was from Sicily. He even told us a story of how his brother got whacked by the mob. So I was like, yo, we're legit. We're in a real authentic Italian pizza parlor here. But his pizza, man, that shit was good. I don't know what he did to the sauce, and he wouldn't tell us. He said it was a family secret. But man, that shit to me was like same level. New York pizza with this Palermo pizza was like, it was delicious, man. But the deep dish, I was not impressed, man. You know, and that's what they're known for, right? The Chicago deep dish fucking pizza. Garbage. Garbage. Dude, they told us, go to Giordano's. The locals, the Chicagoans, locals were telling us that place is garbage. Garbage. And I said, okay, I'm not even going to do it. They're like, oh, go see the Bean. Have you ever heard of the Bean? The Bean is a bean, like frijoles is a bean in the park. It's supposed to be like this tourist attraction. People go see it, take pictures or whatever. And we were telling this local Chicagoan, like, hey, you know, we're going to go see the Bean. And he was like, for what? This is a waste of fucking time. Why are you going to go see that? There ain't nothing good to see with that. He was like, don't even bother seeing that. So luckily for us that we're sports fans and everything, we did a lot of the sports sightseeing, you know, the Cubs Stadium and the Soldier for the Wall Peyton statue and things like that. But for the most part, we saw the Michael Jordan statue. But for the most part, the food-wise, as far as pizza, the deep dish, it was terrible. It was terrible. So I'll end the debate now. Well, I mean, New York pizza, 10 times better than Chicago pizza.
Or like you know, like you see all those things from like New York, their pizza, and it's like every time I see it, like somebody talking about like New York pizza, it looks like it's day old pizza. So I don't understand it. I've never been. I've never understood it, but every time people were talking about it, it looks like it's fucking day old pizza that they get. That's $2.99 for like a big ass slice, and they're like, "That's amazing."
Looks can be deceiving.
I don't know.
When you try it, you have to go try it out, right? Like I said, Chicago pizza and shit. That was always my trash talk, but I never been to Chicago. Now that I've been to Chicago, I can finally confirm that it is garbage. Yeah. But I'm telling you,
I'm probably never gonna go.
You go again, June, July, August. Don't go in the winter time because it's fucking cold.
But why would I go to New York? Like New York is fucking crazy as fuck. There is nothing in New York that for
I would
me,
never go back, but I love
that
it.
is fucking psycho. Like somewhere's like Chicago is bad for sure, right? Look at the news. Even Florida worries me a little bit because there's swamp people there. Y'all have swamp people, like y'all have Florida people, like real Florida people. They terrify me. Those people where they're like, you know what I mean? If you've heard that thing, right? Like all you got to do is put in your birthday, put Florida man, and see what comes up. You've never done that. So when you get a chance, go on the internet, put your birthday. Like I put mine. I'll put my birthday, September 5th, and then Florida man. And there's always fucking news articles about somebody doing something Florida. Because Florida man is legit like a Google thing you can do, and they like Florida people are
so
fucking
it's just like
nuts.
stories of Floridians doing crazy shit.
Yes, it's like I think on one for one of mine, it was like this guy stole 200 pounds of shrimp or like some random shit. You're like, what the fuck? And it's like he stole it and like he was selling it or some shit like that. And you read these stories and it's like you just put your birthday or whatever, put whatever you want, honestly. But it's just like. They're like, you know what I mean? Like Florida people are like, you can get Florida people or you can get like a swamp Florida person. Like there's people that chill out with alligators on a regular, like they're weird, man. Like Florida could be that kind of, and especially like, I forgot what it is, right? Like you cross a bridge and you're dealing with some different kind of people too, right? Like you're like Miami.
Every
like,
county in Florida is different people. You know, like it's funny because like when you talk to like certain cultures here, like Hispanics, the whites or whatever, they could tell you where in certain cities or counties or whatnot in Florida has the most whites, has the most Hispanics, has the most this, has the most that. So it's like if you're going to the north on the Panhandle side, if you're going northwest, it's different. If you're going south to Miami, it's different compared to going southwest, southeast. Everything's always different. But the one thing I like about Florida, you have variety. It's never a dull moment. You know what I'm saying? Even though we're known for like the Disney and all that, but there's always something to do. You could go fucking kayaking, rafting, whatever. Everything water that you want to do, it's here in Florida. And it's easy to, for travel as well. It's not too bad to go travel-wise either. Like, I like Texas. Texas, to me, I really did love Austin. Austin, to me, was one of the cities that I could see myself living in. I thought when I visited, it was a good time, always something to do. The nightlife was really great in downtown Austin and everything. Dallas... so much. I didn't really care for Dallas. San Antonio, hell no. I would never want to live in San Antonio. I don't know how people live in San Antonio, even though my friends live down there. I don't know how they do it. Lubbock, never heard of it.
Never.
I couldn't even find it on the map. You'd be like, yo, I'm from Lubbock. Like, where the fuck is that at? Like El Paso. Well, I know people live in El Paso. I'm like, I never hear anything hot nightlife happening over there. Like I never seen them post pictures like, yo, I'm in the club. El Paso's like shut it down. Like everybody's crickets over there. Crickets, Lubbock and El Paso, crickets. Cricket City.
Well, that's what's weird about Texas, man. Like Texas, like you go to like to the big cities and then you got that. Other than that, man, you got a lot of land. Like there's just people everywhere. Right. And there's a lot of places where you don't really have that much interaction with your neighbors. You know, like we're a small, like mid-sized city. But like because of the pandemic, because, we got a lot of land and we got cheaper houses, like a lot of people from like the West Coast, they started moving over here. And same thing with, Austin and stuff like that. But I mean, that's what we found over here is that, like, it's, what are you going to do, man? Like, And plus, like, we're fucking free out here compared to, like, the west side of us, right? So, like, California, I've been there, man. It's beautiful. I was like, man, definitely, this would be a good place. And then you go there and you go put gas, and you're like, no, I'm good, man. Like, I'm good. This is just, it's not, like, to go visit a week, you're just like, nah, man, I've been through the thick of things. I had to save. Like, I have to, like, put in some time and effort to save money to go to the West Coast. East Coast, I'm not damn near not going there. You get stabbed for probably just like walking around if you don't have the right sun at the end of your like language or something like that. Like just. And then like what's weird about like for New York to me is like it don't matter if you're 70. To me, 70 person is still dangerous. Like they're probably into some crazy shit out there, even in their 70s.
Yeah. New Yorkers that age though, I'll be honest, they know how to defend themselves. Like they ain't scared of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like if you try to mug an 80-year-old, you don't be surprised if he fucking mugs you in return. You know, but it is wild. But man, you're right. It's weird. Like so, when I was stationed in Travis in North Cali, the culture was very different if I went to LA or San Diego. Like it was even though it was one state, it felt like two separate fucking countries. You know what I'm saying? Like up north, San Francisco, like Sacramento to me, I found that it was very quiet, reserved, not really much to do. You had little bars here and there, but San Francisco was party. That nightlife was intense. And then you go down to LA and it was like bougie. It was like high maintenance and everything else. San Diego was more like beach and chill and relax and whatnot, but it's two definitely separate cultures, man. Just like in, you know, Texas the same way, Florida's the same way, and even in New York. But it's crazy how we, you know, moving from New York to Florida, you definitely have to get accustomed to how you do things in that state. Because New York, that traffic light turns green, they're honking the horn. You better move. Like even if you're the fifth car, they're still honking the horn. Like, yo, hurry up and get past the green light. Florida, if you honk the horn at them, they're like, what's going on? What did I do wrong? What's happening? Like they'll get confused. Like what the fuck is going on? Turn signals don't exist in Florida. They don't know how to hit the left signal or the right signal. Is a guessing game which lane they're gonna switch to. New York, you know, even though the driving is crazy, but it's very defensive. Florida, you have to be on your guard because these Floridians don't know how to fucking drive for shit, man. They're crazy. It's crazy because I was reading down in fucking Europe, they have this thing. It's a fucking volunteer program where they hire people, they do background checks on them. And they basically, like, if you're leaving a club, let's say at 2 a.m. in the morning, and, you know, you're one of those that's like, oh, I don't trust the area. I don't trust, you know, walking alone at night and whatnot. You call this fucking company, this agency, and they stay on the phone with you as you walk home. And what they do is they track you from your phone where your GPS position is and everything. And they're basically talking to you like, how much farther are you from your house? And you tell them, well, I'm like 3 blocks away. So God forbid, if you was to get mugged or if somebody was to try to rob you, that person on the line will fucking call the cops and tell them where you're at and everything because they have your fucking GPS position or whatnot.
Yeah, but you're still getting robbed. Like it doesn't stop it. Like
I think this was in London. They were doing this thing, and you know, believe it or not, like just from reading the article on it, like the crime rate wasn't too high, but also at the same time, like people felt really safe because you know, let's be honest, a lot of times I've been with homegirls that they'd be like, "Hey, can you walk me to my car or something?" You know, it's just always that what if thought, like, you know, God forbid something happens to me, if somebody tries to fucking rape me, mug me, whatever the case may be. So they decided to do this program where they, you know, they background check the people who are going to be talking to you, who are going to handle calling the police and everything. And you basically stay on the phone, you know, like if you were having a normal conversation with a friend, but God forbid if you saw something suspicious, you'll tell them, hey, you know, I see somebody's following me, and then boom, they're calling the cops or whatnot. I thought that was pretty smart. I was like, you know, it's good that they have something like that because a lot, like I say, in the States, a lot of people, God forbid, they walk alone. Who knows what the fuck is going to happen to them, you know?
Yeah, I just can't imagine that when you're like, hey, I'm walking here. Hey, I see this guy. Is he wearing a black coat? Like, yeah, hey, you're about to get robbed. Stay very calm. Like, I was just talking to somebody else 30 minutes ago. This dude is just hanging out here, man. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, I see this person. Like, you're about to get robbed. Like, whatever you do, just give them their stuff.
Just give them the stuff. Call the cops. Just give up all your jewelry. Don't worry about it.
And it's like, it's also like, can you imagine? Like, let's say they get robbed, right? You call the cops. Do you stay on the phone until they get home? So you're kind of like, like, hey, what's up, man? Like, I know you got robbed. Don't worry about it. It happens to everybody. Has you? Like, no, I just stay avoid that area. You know what I mean? It's like awkward conversation
it's
like. It's
called the Strut Safe program. So as you're strutting, you're supposed to be strutting safely. Yo, in New York, I could just see it right now. Yo, my dude, he's about to take all your shit. Run, player, run. Get the fuck out of there.
and it's also too, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like if you're robbing somebody or if you're mugging them and it's like, hey, I'm on phone with this service, like,
Who cares?
by the time the cops come, I'm gone, man.
I already took all your shit.
Yeah. I mean, like over here, like, you know, we have a little bit of crime, right? And so like and everybody's always posting their cameras, and you'll see it, like the lights go on, all this stuff, all the guys are still checking it, like, cause it's like by the time they get here, I'm over here.
Right.
And it's just like that's my only thing. Like, I think it's a great idea in a sense, but at the same time frame, it's like, hey, when is somebody gonna get robbed? Like, someone's gonna be like, hey, I actually am that guy, so I won't call the cops until like 5 seconds later. I'll tell you where these people are at, and then you rob them on the way over. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, what are you gonna do for a background check besides just like, have you been committed a crime? No. Hey, so far you passed, man. You look like you're doing a great job. Like, you know.
Now, when you go out, you observing like that, like you recognize, you know, situation awareness. You look at where I'm going to, who's walking around here. Yeah, I'd be doing.
Yeah, especially if I'm with my wife. Like, if I'm there, like, you know, if I feel, you can tell I don't feel very uncomfortable if I get my keys and I'm about to, like, I'm just like, okay, I'm just ready. You know, at that point, like, let's go here, do that. But I also, man, like, you're not seeing my ass at midnight. You're not seeing my ass, you know, like, I think it's also that too, as well as like, where are you headed at? Like, I'm going to, like, if I'm going at Walmart, like, there's a store over here, Walmart, like, at a certain time, it can get dangerous. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to come here to certain areas, you know, like, I think that's also key. But I think a lot of times, man, it's just, as a guy, you know, 5'11", I'm a bigger dude. I don't have to worry as much, right? Like, I think too, like, somebody's like, definitely somebody could rob me, right? 2-3 people can easily take me out. But I think the way it looks is like, it's a little bit more difficult in a sense. But if you're a 5'2", 100-pound woman, that's easy all day. Like, you know what I mean? I think that there's something like that too, is like, I don't have to worry as much. But also, I think if you look ready, like, if you're kind of like that, you can kind of tell, like, okay, like, and especially with, like, in today's world, man, you have no, like, that's why I don't say shit to nobody. You have no clue who you're dealing with, man. You can go out and somebody and act crazy, and they're like, let that guy be trained, and he's 5'5", but he's trained. He's gonna whip your ass. Like, just, it is what it is.